Alright everybody, it's time for the top 5 most fun games of 2015. Now this has to do with gameplay, the most enjoyable gameplay for these games. And, we had a lot of releases in 2015, and it was hard to narrow down, 5 of them that I thought were just really, really fun to play, no matter what you were doing. But I had to, and so we're going to get on with this category, alright? So let's start with the top 5 most fun games of 2015. Number 5, The Order 1886. I think The Order 1886 had some of the best third-person shooting mechanics ever in a video game to this date. Regardless of the other stuff surrounding the game, The Order 1886, in terms of its gameplay, was just outstanding. Alright, I'm not talking about the quick time events, but I am talking about the shooting mechanics and the actual meat of the gameplay. It was just all the guns felt different and unique from one another. The shooting gave this extremely satisfying feel whenever you fired a shot and you hit somebody. And the controls were just buttery smooth and like super responsive, and this just ended up in being an extremely satisfying game from a gameplay perspective. And it's one of the more frustrating things about The Order 1886, but we're going to get into that later. Yeah, I just think The Order 1886 had some of the best shooting mechanics, ever in a third-person shooting. An excellent cover system. All the guns felt extremely satisfying. You can just feel the impact of every bullet, which was just freaking awesome. And I just loved how, this game, what Ready at Dawn did with the shooting mechanics. It just did a fantastic job. And I can't wait to see how they improve upon it in a possible sequel that we'll be seeing. Number 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. So Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, we all know, an open world game, and I absolutely loved how this game just allowed you to approach things in your own way. Regardless of what happened during the latter half of the game, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain was just a fun game to play regardless when everything worked. And it was just awesome. You were able to sneak in. The game was difficult, and enemies reacted realistically to what's going on, and kind of unpredictably. And yes, that would result in some frustrating moments, when you're being spotted by almost half a mile away by an enemy. But it also adds to the realism factor of the game, and you kind of had to get out of the mindset that of the cliche video game AI, which can't see you unless you're like right up to their face. You had to kind of get out of that mindset and really, kind of think realistically about the situations that you were approaching, and what you're going to do, and not attract attention. In addition to that, Metal Gear has always been known as kind of like a stealth action game. This game had, I think, put more emphasis on the action part. You were able to play it kind of running and gunning, which is great, for people who aren't into stealth and whatnot. But in terms of its stealth mechanics, which I'm a personal big fan of, it just nailed everything down. I love the AI, I love the level design, I loved all the different mechanics, and really just had a blast playing this game. I did beat the entire game, keep that in mind. I even beat the first and second chapters. I did all of the missions, all the side ops, and I completed my playthrough in, I think, just under 130 hours, and I just had a blast. So Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, an excellent game from a gameplay perspective. Number 3, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. With so much to do and so much depth in the environment and just all this stuff, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, I don't see how it cannot be considered one of the most fun games of 2015. It was just so deep, and every single time that you did something, you're always being handed more stuff to do. And sure, you can say it's about quantity over quality with some games, but what The Witcher 3 did above any other RPG, in my opinion, is that it gave you side missions, but they all felt impactful. And the stories that it told from all of its side missions were interesting, and had some emotional feel to it, and you felt that your actions really impacted people in the world in your own way and depending on what you did. And it was just really, really great to play through this game and have a blast, and just an absolutely fun time, playing through this game. I believe I'm not really sure how long my playthrough is. I want to say it's around 80 hours, because I did do the DLC and I spent a significant time doing the DLC, and I can't wait for the next expansion. But on its own, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is just an absolute fun game to play around in. So much stuff to do, and everything feels impactful and worthwhile. So, great job with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Number 2, Dying Light. If you told me that the developers of Dead Island were going to make one of the most fun games of 2015, I would have sat there and slapped you in the face and called you crazy. Everybody knows I absolutely hated Dead Island with a passion. It's actually, unfortunately, was one of the few games that I actually did not beat. I never beat Dead Island. And I just thought the game was horrendous in every single aspect. But I took a chance on Dying Light. I said, alright, fine, I'll take a chance, even though I never expected it to be as enjoyable as it was. And I got the game on release solely because of its parkour mechanics and the fact that I am a big Mirror's Edge fan. But Dying Light on its own is just an excellent game from a gameplay perspective. Once you get past the initial 4 hours and you start leveling up your character and start getting into the world and doing side missions, this game is just a blast to play, and it's so awesome. I said this in my review, the side missions in this game are up there with like Skyrim Witcher 3 quality. It's absolutely insane. Excellent side missions, with great narratives, great stories to tell. In fact, I think the side missions are more fun than the actual story for the game. And the game just was just an all-around fantastic just game to play. It was just awesome. I can't wait for Dying Light the following. I'm definitely going to pick that up. I just think the game was amazing. And if you haven't played Dying Light, if you're still on the fence about it because of Dead Island and all that stuff, trust me, as someone who hated Dead Island with passion, who never completed Dead Island because I thought it was that horrible, get this game. This game is excellent. It is a lot of fun to play. And they did a fantastic job, and they outdid themselves. And I'm actually really happy. I'm really proud of Techland that they can, learn from their mistakes and really develop something and improve upon something in every way possible. So, excellent job with Dying Light. I thought it was one of the most fun games of 2015. Number 1, Bloodborne. So I have to give my number 1 spot to Bloodborne. You guys know that, I never played a Dark Souls game before, never played any of that, but I took a chance with Bloodborne because, well, everyone was saying it was fantastic, and I just had to see it for myself. And you guys know I did a video on this. I went to Best Buy between classes, in school, and I picked the game up, and I just took a chance on it. And you guys know I made a video. I was like, what did I get myself into? And I played this game not knowing anything, not knowing what to expect, and oh my god, I just had a complete blast. If you have never played a Dark Souls, Demon Souls game before, if you never played any of that, you owe it to yourself to basically play the game. Like, this Bloodborne is amazing. It's intense. It's a lot of fun to play, and I know a lot of people want to stay away from it because of its difficulty. It's notorious for being a really difficult game, but don't let that detract you. The game is not so difficult as much as it's about you playing by your rules. And sure, you'll come across those bosses which you just find impossible to beat, but the satisfaction of when you do finally beat that boss, when you do finally, get through that level, that satisfaction is something that no other game has provided to this day for me. I mean, all you have to do basically is just play by the game's rules. What I did basically is I played through the game, and every single night for about 2 hours in the middle of the night before I went to bed, I sat there and I grinded and I farmed, and I just allowed myself to level up. And this allowed me to go into the game you know, and I wasn't significantly underpowered at all, and I had a pretty good time doing it. And I just loved this game. Took me about 3 months to beat because, you know, I was in school, I was busy and stuff like that, but I loved every single moment with it. It was fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. If you have a PlayStation 4, get this game. It is utterly fantastic. The most fun game I have played this year by far, and I absolutely loved it. And even if you don't have a PlayStation 4, Dark Souls 3 is coming up in April. I mean, there's your opportunity to try something that's very similar to Bloodborne. And I'm looking forward to Dark Souls 3. I guess you can consider me a fan now, but I'm really loved my time with Bloodborne. That was excellent. So that's why I think it deserved #1 for the top 5 most fun games of 2015. Alright everybody, those were my top 5 most fun games of 2015. I hope you enjoyed it. Next category is top 5 most disappointing games. We'll be looking at the more lackluster games that didn't quite meet expectations and just, in my opinion, utterly sucked for the year of 2015. So, hope you guys looking forward to that. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And on to the next category, I guess.